Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
So we got asked a question today, and this is the situation. It's a home purchase, private party, and it's cash. So someone just said, hey, I'll buy your house. Here's a bunch of cash. And they said, okay. And they're trying to figure out what to do. So the question was, hey, do we even need to open escrow, or can't we just skip all that, right? So there's a lot of reasons why we need escrow and title. So why don't you give us one reason why we have to have escrow and title, even though there's no loan on the purchase end?
Right. So escrow and title are the third neutral party, right? And they provide certain services such as collecting the money and dispersing the money, which we're all accustomed to, but they actually provide some other really valuable services. One of the valuable services that escrow and title provide are the providing the preliminary title report, which lets you know what liens are on the property, what easements are on the property, the chain of title, things like that.
Okay, so if there's a lien, you don't want just the person just to say, oh no, let's just give me the money and I'll go record it and you'll be fine.
Right.
Because this is a lien, the lien is going to carry over. That person's, it could be a big lien.
Right.
So they clear liens.
Right. The next thing that they provide is the owner's title policy. Now, this is probably the single most important title policy or insurance policy that you'll probably buy besides maybe life insurance, because it is insuring a large value item, which is the title of this property. In this particular case, this is a very nice property, very expensive property. So it is ensuring that the title of that. So one of the things that they're going to be doing is researching the chain of title and making sure that the person selling the property has the right to sell it, and that this person is the only person that is on title. So for example, if this person is on title with maybe another person, maybe a parent or a previous spouse or somebody like that, that's title's job to sort that out and make sure that all that paperwork is in order. So if the person is deceased, they've got whatever documents give the entire interest of the property to the person signing, or if the person is alive, that they sign a quitclaim. Whatever is going on, that title insurance is super important, and the title company makes sure that all of that gets done.
And keep in mind that there could be something recorded, but doesn't mean it went through any kind of escrow or legitimate process, because anyone can take a deed down and record it. It happens all the time where someone just records a deed and says, yeah, I'm just recording this deed on this property. I transferred ownership, blah, blah, blah. And they just record it. And it's forged. We've seen it where people just take somebody else's name and they just say, oh, they sold me the property, and they just record it. And then they try to rent it or sell it. And then all of a sudden the actual owner finds out, hey, wait a minute, why is somebody trying to rent my property? And then they say, well, they have a deed that says they own the property. So you want to make sure that, and then the other thing too is, like Oana said, they could own it with somebody else and say, yeah, don't worry about it, we're selling it. But then if that other person isn't actually go down, get their signatures notarized at the title company, everything, they could come back later after you've given the money and say, hang on a minute, I didn't agree, I never sold my share of the house. And if they're joint tenants, that means the whole house. So they could basically go to court, get the whole house back, and then you just be out the money. You'd have to now go hunt down the person you gave the money to and then go through that craziness. And remember, once you've given away your money, it's really hard to get it back.
Right.
Okay, so you want to make sure that the chain of title, you get title insurance. What about taxes? I mean, they also do something with taxes too, right?
Right. So what title does is they make sure that the taxes are prorated. So for example, if you pay your taxes in either annually or quarterly, whatever that is, they prorate it to the date of closing. So that means that the seller is credited for the unused portion and the buyer is charged for it. They also do that with other things. For example, here in Las Vegas, we also do that with sewer fees and trash fees and HOA fees and things like that. So that means that the seller is actually reimbursed for any fees that they've paid in advance.
The other thing that they do is, let's say the owner of the home who's selling it has their own loan, like they have a mortgage to pay off. Well, the land you want to, if you're buying the house, you want to make sure that thing gets paid off. Because what if they just take the money, right, and say, oh yeah, I'm going to pay off the mortgage, and then you record the deed and you say you own the house now. It's all yours. But then they just take the cash and leave. That mortgage is still on the property. It's not tied to the person, it's tied to the property. So what's going to happen is all of a sudden they're going to say, hey, we haven't begun mortgage payments. They're going to be like, oh, no, I bought the house. I gave them the money. They're not going to care. They're going to say, well, the loan was never cleared, so it's on the house. And they're going to foreclose. They're going to take the house away, and you're not going to have a house. And the person's, so that's why you want to go through title and escrow, because what will happen is the escrow will say, hey, you give us the funds, we'll call and get a loan payoff. We'll pay off the loan. You don't have to worry about the loan. You don't have to worry that the unscrupulous seller is just pocketing the money and taking off to, Bolivia or someplace, and they've got all the cash. And then you're stuck with and you're not going to get rid of it. You can't just go and say, hey, look, I bought the house, get rid of the loan. They're not going to, the bank's not going to, they're going to say, nope, sorry. And that you don't want to mess with the bank.
Right.
And you don't want to mess with deeds of trust.
So the other thing is, I did briefly touch on HOAs. If there is an HOA, they'll go ahead and make sure that the HOA is made aware that the property is being sold. They'll go ahead and pay the fees to set up the account in the new owner's name. If there's any capital contribution, which that happens sometimes, when you purchase the property, there's a capital contribution. That gets taken care of. So there are all kinds of things involved with HOAs that need to get done too, and escrow is very good about taking care of those. So escrow does still serve a very important function, from loan payoff to owner's title policy to being the holder of the funds and dispersing them to the appropriate people and entities, to making sure that the seller has the sole right to convey the property, all kinds of different things. Escrow is very useful. They also, at the end, of course, record the deed and provide you with all your documentation showing that you now own the house.
And they also provide you with very important title insurance.
Yes.
And then that way, if they made a mistake or said, oh, we forgot that 2 sales ago it was done wrong and this other person actually owns the house, and they just died and they just willed the house to somebody else and they just showed up and they're going to take over the house now, even though you paid money. You hopefully get your money back through the title insurance. Do not buy a house as a purchaser without going through title and escrow. And if you're in an attorney state, do the attorney thing. Don't just say, hey, let's just do this private party, blah, 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 because it's nothing good. And I would be very worried about somebody who says, no, let's just save the couple $100 we're going to spend title policy. We don't need to title policy. Just give me the money and I'll give you the house. That's really all you want is a house, right? Because if that's happening, then there's something wrong. And they're just, it may be hidden. It may be not an obvious thing. It may not be anything wrong with the house, but it may be a problem with, liens or loans or government taxes, or they don't actually own the house.
Right.
That's a big one. So if you're buying a house cash, go to escrow, get a title policy. Here in Nevada, California, Arizona, mostly West Coast states, title and escrow. Colorado, it's a round table state, but it's still title and escrow. And then all the attorney states, Illinois, places like that, where there are attorneys involved, use them. And even if you're doing a private sale sometimes, in a title and escrow state, go grab a real estate agent. Say, hey, could you just help us with the paperwork so it's all done right, the disclosures, all the paperwork, everything, so that we can give all that to the escrow, and then help us with the escrow. And you could pay them a small fee. Say, hey, how about if I give you X if you just help us with the paperwork on this private sale? Because the real estate professionals have a vested interest in making sure it's done right, and they know the process, and they're going to be, hey, why don't you want to do this one thing? It's really important, right? You're not saving any money by skipping this.
Right. So remember, even if you're doing a private party, you still, as a seller, have obligations of disclosure that you may not be aware of everything that's required in your state. So, and escrow can't help you with that. That's beyond the scope of what they do. So paying a real estate professional just a fee to help you with all the paperwork and make sure that you're compliant with the state is money well spent.
Yeah,
okay?
if you sell your house super quick private party and don't provide a seller's property disclosure, and then there ends up being some big problem that you knew about in the past and it ends up being a ton of money, they're gonna win.
Right.
And it's gonna be a lot of money and you're not gonna be very happy.
Right. So a real estate professional is going to know what disclosures you have to provide as the seller. They're going to know what responsibility the seller has, what responsibility the buyer has. So they're going to be able to help you along that way. It's something that, like I said, a real estate professional will do it for a nominal fee. Most of the time, the buyer and the seller will split that nominal fee because it benefits both of them. The real estate professional is paid at closing, just like always, but it's not going to be a massive commission or anything like that. It's going to be some amount that everybody agrees on, and it's just to help you with the paperwork and help you with the process.
If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Like us, leave us comments, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.
All right, bye.